What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering. This is easily the most requested story that I've had in several months. It's an important one. So my ask to you is that if you agree, that you remember to interact with the video by liking or disliking it, leaving a comment, and consider sharing it on Twitter, Minds.com, Facebook, whatever it is that you use to help raise awareness of a situation that's going on with like fellow comics YouTubers, someone that has been covering a lot in the anime community with the Vic Mignogna situation. And overall, honestly, covers a lot of the same topics that I do, sans, I suppose, the video game coverage, but mostly excellent content creator, known as That Umbrella Guy. If you look at some of his most recent videos, he's been covering the Vic Mignogna situation for quite some time, as the world is obviously fascinated with that. But he's long covered a lot of things in comics, and he's even got his own comic that he did crowdfund, and he attended some conventions, things like that. But the channel is not gigantic. It's 36,001 subscribers. And he's been pretty stuck in the crosshairs of a certain section of the comics community, a section of the community that is jealous, that is sad. I often describe these people as crabs in a bucket. And if you've been following the channel for a long time, you know what that means. But for the newcomers, essentially, a lot of people who are relishing right now in the comics, Marvel, DC comic collapse, and also the infighting going on in the comics community, the YouTube comics community, the independent creator community. They are like crabs in a bucket. You pile them in, and you don't need to put a lid on them because the crabs will always pull the other crab down inside the bucket. And they're, in my opinion, losing at life, bitter, really unattractive people on the inside and the out, and the type of people that encapsulate the misery loves company saying, right? They have nothing going in their lives, and so they seek to bring people down. Now, I've stopped interacting with this side of the comics community for a very long time, and I've advised people like Ethan Van Sciver, former DC Comics artist pro and great big Star Wars fan, guys like Zach, to stop interacting with this section of people. They're just wasting your time, and that's how they win. That's how a lot of these people win. They win when they waste your time. They win when they distract you. And that's what's going on in the comics community right now. I'm hoping that this video will serve as a rallying point for them to come together, put aside some of their petty differences, and remember what this comics movement was all about. And that is, of course, either fixing comics with Move the Needle, which I think was an excellent movement that needs to happen again, and that is inspiring people to purchase good comics, or with the creation of their own comics, which we've seen a lot of happening recently in the comics community. But That Umbrella Guy is somebody who's been on the forefront of a lot of this and seems to have caught the ire of a certain section of that community, which we're going to go over in a second. And it starts with people posting pictures of his wife, talking about calling CPS. He had his information shared out there. People are making fun of his financial situation. And so I aim to turn that all around. And the best way I can do that is try and help him be more successful by highlighting his channel, which I think you should subscribe to. And he's got a new baby on the way. I think it's a second child. I'm not sure. But I thought, since, hey, people are making fun of him for for having financial troubles, which is hilarious coming from the group of people that generally live 5 to a studio apartment, I started a GoFundMe to celebrate, to help him and his wife. It's like a baby shower, a comics community baby shower. I started it off with $250 of my own money. I'm going to leave a link in the description below. I know money doesn't fix all wounds, but like we saw with that Star Wars girl, sometimes that's all we can do. And you know what? With a new baby comes diapers and all sorts of expenses like that, new cribs, new toys, formula, all sorts of things like that. So I figured, hey, you know what? If they think it's so funny that he's struggling financially, maybe we can help turn that around a little bit. Now, I've been talking to a lot of people in the community about what's going on, but I also talked to that umbrella guy himself. I'm going to share with you his story, his timeline of events, as well as screenshots to back it all up. So he says the doxing stuff started a couple of days ago openly, but it's been going on for a long time, right after I launched my comic, really. We got the normal stuff, people trying to take down my comic, people trying to call me names, and bizarre people like Chrissy, Renfamous's best friend IRL, telling people to look for pictures of my kid. This led to people reaching out to my family, talking about CPS. Now Ren and her friends got called out of this because Ren has now claimed to dox me a while back. Ren sidestepped this by saying it was all a joke, that she didn't have them, blah, 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 blah. Well, a week ago, they started sending stuff about his job. And the other day, this picture, which I'll show you in a minute, that Ren and Chrissy sharing my name, my middle initial, my wife's maiden name, and more. You also have voice actor Shannon McCormick from Rooster Teeth, I believe, that is saying he is holding on to this for the right time. These people are going to dox me. They've already threatened my child and the job and my job. Wait, so I took the hit right there. McCormick is confronted in these pictures and spins it, but admits he's part of it. So Tim Doyle steps in. We're going to read this because this stuff is also part of this article here, which is just shocking stuff. I think Tim Doyle has some loose connection to Weird Al Yankovic or something like that. Tim Doyle steps in with some menacing words. Also, Bounding into Comics covers this all, which I have this article up. The people liking it are people involved in the anti-Vic community and comics that hate me. And they whip up the crazies. So Chrissy begins menacingly to drop a picture of my daughter. Wow. I'm reading this for the first time because I asked him to email me everything that's going on. So after this is in broad daylight, someone ends up smashing my mailbox. Police come, file a report. I don't know who, but yeah, broad daylight. Ren changes her name to mock that while dumping our financials as a talking point, which is funny coming from her. Basically has some, or I'm not going to go into that part. On top of that, I had the same person hitting me up in Nick's live stream yesterday telling me my lawn looks good and was just cut, but the hill made it hard to see everything or something like that, which was true. I'm sure I'm forgetting something. Oh, and Shannon McCormick thing is funny considering he works for Rooster Teeth. Yeah, so this stuff is nuts. Now, in my opinion, many of the people mentioned in this are just trolls, and I will advise you, that umbrella guy, to stop engaging with them, to block them all, and do not involve yourself with their Twitter feeds. They have no power. I would instead implore the comics community, the gaming community, the video game community, those who will stand for independent creators, people who will fight for their hobby, right? You might not be into comics, you might not be into board games or trading card games, but what many of my fans are into is some form of escapism and understanding how important that is. Whether you're into comics or into trading cards, I think brings us all together. And I'm hoping that the comics community, those that forged out with Move the Needle, can remember who the real enemies are, stop their infighting, and continue to produce great comics, but also promote good comics that are put out by companies. You know, not all mass-made comics are bad, and I think it's important that people support the ones that are good. And there's a wide variety of screenshots that I'm going to show you now, which are just messed up. Okay, I'm gonna bring this on the screen here. Hold on a second. So we have, just people talking about Tug, which is that umbrella guy. No, they're just married. Lola has posted tons of pictures of their daughter on Twitter. Just Google her name and pull up the images and scroll. I assume the little girl in Tug's book is based on their daughter. Like, how creepy is this stuff? Here's Renfamous. Is that why her husband made up a story about having someone call his work? Here, I'm assuming, is his wife. My husband, please don't pretend that you know who my husband is. I don't martyr my family like you do yours. And I've never said anything about my husband works being called. I mean, they're just going after these people. Here's Raised by Wolves. I don't know, Tug. I think a call to CPS to check up on your kid may be in order. Like, what is with these people? Seriously. Here's Shannon McCormick. This is A+ work. Here they say, I've been holding this in my back pocket for the right time, but I'm here for this. All the things substantiated here. I've got some friends at CPS. I can call in a report. If you could, please DM me what you know. Lola is asking me to point to the tweet that has her legal name in it, but that tweet also has a picture of E in it. That's their daughter, by the way. That seems like something you should talk over with Tug first. I mean, these people are crazy. Here's his mailbox. There's the report that was filed. Here is Renfamous making fun of the fact that they filed for bankruptcy. So what, did they run a background check? These people are crazy. Here's Shannon McCormick. Thanks for stopping by. An associate has been hassled by that umbrella. Shared his name with me. I laughed at a joke yesterday and said I was holding it in my back pocket. I have not shared it and will not share it, said information. But why did you threaten it? And you also have it, so somebody shared it with you. Who's that person? And here we have Tim Doyle. Watching a notorious Comicsgate person dox himself because he doesn't know the name of a Harry Potter actor is pretty great. Maybe that umbrella guy will stop being a butt now that everyone knows who he is. Once you know his name, it's pretty easy to find out literally everything about him. The question is now, is he smart enough to shut up, or will he keep harassing people who now know where he lives? My money is that he will double down and put himself and his family at risk by being even more of a butt. And then the cops will have to get involved. Jobs will be lost. That's a sadly predictable arc here. No, it isn't. You could just leave the guy alone. You don't have to dig into his family's information, right? You don't have to issue what I would consider a veiled threat to a comic book creator. Some might say it's not even veiled. And then if you look at Data Racer, at Data Racer 117, by the way, is an excellent person to follow. You can see he, or I guess they, I don't know, catalog everything excellently. Sure, the mailbox got hit by a bat. We don't know that it was anybody connected to this. I was a kid too. That's why I didn't run with that story, but it's curious timing. And then you can see Tim Doyle, who is a, quote, freelance art and director. Clients include Metallica, Weird Al, and Spoke Art. From also, if I remember, he was also selling unlicensed photographs on his website, if I remember correctly. Here you have Renfamous posting pictures of the man's wife, giving their information. My parents' home address. Anyway, here's another photo of her. Yes, that's Tug's wife. What is with these people? This stuff is unacceptable. Then you see her change her name to Mailbox Babadook, but that's still Renfamous. Ranfamous is a low level troll, low IQ. But the problem is, what happens is when you interact with them, they'll drag you down to their level and beat you with experience. That's why I tell people to not interact with these idiots. You have these people just openly issuing threats to him. Obviously, nothing about this is comic book related. Funny part is in Greg's bankruptcy was chapter 13. If it was basically him, I mean, why is any of this relevant? I'm showing you all of this stuff, right? Do I think Renfamous was, part of the mailbox thing? Probably not. Remember Ren doxed a lady for donating to Zach's GoFundMe? Comicscape remembers. I remember when there was a large donator to a GoFundMe account that was for a book called Jawbreakers, and saying Nancy had gotten 2 calls at her office, 4 to her home number, 1 cryptic recording asking her to call back. This was, I believe, from Zach. And then you have her posting a donator. She's trolling through this guy's GoFundMe and posting pictures of large donators. By the way, this is where I'm going to end it. I'd strongly consider having this. I think the best thing to do with these people, for the comic book community, for the video game community, whatever fandom that you're in, I think the best thing you can do is succeed and not spend time looking back at these people who seek to bring you down. I recommend subscribing to That Umbrella Guy to support his channel. If you're in a position to, I've started this GoFundMe. I recommend backing it because they'll love that. And also consider maybe backing anonymously if you're somebody that is concerned, because we know what kind of people will be trolling through this looking for information. But again, That Umbrella Guy, if I can offer any advice, just ignore them. Just ignore them. They have literally no value to you. And to the comics community, please use this to unite and remember what this movement is all about. And to those that don't care about comic books but enjoy escapism, it's been a great example of some of the blue-haired craziness out there on Twitter. I hope you enjoyed this video. Good luck on the new baby, That Umbrella Guy. We'll talk to you again real soon.